Chiefs.
I think there's greatness inside all of us, and there's something to be said about being around people who are hungry to achieve something special. And I think I got a taste of that last year when I just look at our player leaders, our coaches, and then obviously getting the chance to hoist the Lombardi myself at the end of the year. There's some about, reaching the pinnacle in our sport, which is hoisting that Lombardi trophy, and you just want to do it again. And, I don't sense, at least in myself, I can speak for myself, there's no complaint. I don't feel any feelings internally of I made it. There's a sense that I haven't made it, and we got to go do this thing again. And to be able to do something that nobody's done, which is win it 3 times in a row, there's a hunger. I can sense it. I can sense it with our guys, and we know it's not going to be easy. It's hard to win 1, but when you win 2 in a row, and then hopefully a chance to win 3, you're going to get everybody's best, and it's going to be an exciting year, man. Joy is in the journey, and we're excited for what's to come this year.
Kansas.
7-5 Cincinnati. Hawks have been good defensively. Here's KJ kicking out. Nick wants a 3. It's blocked. And Cincinnati fights for the rebound, but tips to KJ, and he slams it home. It bounced back and forth like a pinball, and KJ said, hey, look what I found. He rifles it through for 2, and we're all square at 7 apiece. 38-23 Cincinnati. Inside a minute to go here in the first half. Jackson pulls up from 15. Bang. Marco Jackson catching fire, and Kansas down 13.
Lukosius off balance. Skillings put back in 1. Skillings with 21. Evers. And McDowell. Bill Self and Wes Miller shake hands. Cincinnati advances 72-52 is the final. So day 2 in the books, and our quarterfinals are set. And now for Kansas, it is on to the NCAA tournament. And they'll try and get Dickinson and McCullough healthy.
Yeah, I thought the guys tried hard. We didn't have enough bullets in our gun tonight. We did some good things defensively, but they killed us on the glass. It's got 16 offensive rebounds and 18 points. We ended up getting 11 points on offensive rebounds, but for the most part, they killed us on the glass, and then we couldn't guard the ball. The first half, we guarded their actions. We just couldn't guard the ball.
Kansas State. This is Kaluma with the ball, works on Cunningham, spins towards the lane, now needs help. Out it goes to the far wing, long 3, swish! Tyler Perry from downtown! He's got 12 and a couple of threes. That's 4 for the Cats in the game. Day Ames dribbles around the top to Arthur Kaluma. Kaluma to the right wing, dumps it down to Gasson. He will work against Brock Cunningham. Keeps the dribble. Here's Tyler Perry with the ball. Tyler back up top. Day fakes the 3, drives to the bucket, scoop shot off the window, good!
He's lethal when he gets to his left hand.
55-51 is our score as we go under 8.5 minutes. Here's Kaluma with the ball into the corner. Tyler Perry for 3. Swish! Tyler Perry with 17 and 3 threes. That's 5 for the Wildcats, and they lead it 58-51 on the 3 by TP. Asmus to play it in. Gets it into Dessou, back to Asmus. Here he comes, 6 seconds, 5 seconds. NBA +3, no. Kaluma the rebound, and K-State comes to Kansas City and wins the ball game. How about the Cats? K-State, our final, 78-74, and K-State wins for the 19th time this year, and they'll go for 20 tomorrow night against the Iowa State Cyclones.
In the first half, I didn't think that we were executing it the way we needed to. I just told the guys the team that was beating us was in our locker room. It wasn't the dudes on the other side. And if we could get the team, get ourselves out of our own way, then we would have a chance in the second half, and they did it. I'm going to go and just enjoy this with the guys for a few minutes, and then we'll lock in on Iowa State. Obviously, they've had a great year. They're going to probably be a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament, and one of the best defensive teams in our league. So, and they pride themselves on all the things that we pride ourselves on too. So, just TJ does a great job with his program. So, I'm just happy we get a chance.
Good morning, Kansas City. This is the Border Patrol on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you so much for joining us. Stephen St. John with Dylan Michaels live. Once again, the 810 Hot Box. I don't know why when I'm down here it's 111, but that's fine. I'll deal with it. I've dealt with special circumstances for the last effing 12 hours, so we'll continue to do so. Nate Bukaty, not so brash today. Nate Bukaty got knocked down a few pegs after predicting Kansas would roll through the Big 12 tournament. Now we'll see if he...
Wow.
Now we'll see if he acts right for once. Jake Gutierrez, who was all over it, he said since he was a dark horse and Kansas shorthanded would have a tough time. Must give kudos to you, Jake Gutierrez, for keeping your eye on that one. Vegas, Jake.
Yeah, right. Hope you listen to me.
Did you bet Kansas straight up?
I did.
I did. Oh,
I did.
At what point did you feel bad about that?
About 8 minutes left in the game. I said,
Hey, because you're a diehard. Because you're, even I'm sure at halftime you're thinking, well.
They're down, I think, double digits at the 8-minute break. I was like, yep, it's done.
You're
they
probably,
made a little charge here and there, cut it to 9.
Right. At one point, you probably think, hey, you know what? You can't have a big comeback unless you're down big.
That's right.
But you did say you would also bet K-State money line. Did you follow through on that?
I did.
That did not look good for a while, but then Texas decided to leave for the SEC at halftime. And
yeah, they did. out.
And get there a little early. Get a good parking spot down in the SEC. And so Texas
headed to Nashville.
Yep, they're gone. They're actually playing in the next round of the SEC tournament. Shocking.
Taking on Georgia, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if anyone was paying attention to that, but my beautiful daughter Selena and I were watching the end of the Missouri game, and she said, "Dad, they're finally going to win. They're up 7. There's only a few minutes left." And I looked at her. I said, "Little girl, there's so much about this world you've yet to learn." And then a 12-0 run later, Georgia finishes the game on a 12-0 run in the final 3.5 minutes, and Mizzou lost by 5. So, literally, after she said that, Mizzou did not score again. And then she went to bed with no supper. Oh, boy. Basketball, at times, I believe, is very stupid. But we love it, don't we? Hey, for K-State fans, K-State and Iowa State, it's your tournament now. Take over. Take it over, baby. Of course, all kidding aside, Nate predicted this Kansas loss. Nate broke an ankle jumping off the bandwagon, and he said Kansas would be underdogs to Cincinnati, and they would lose. And so even though you're a Kansas man, you can take solace in the fact that you predicted this to happen. So,
well, it's not always fun to be right.
Right.
I also didn't predict that they would lose by 20.
Were you rooting for Cincy so you could be right?
No.
Not even a little bit?
No.
Kinda. I bet you were.
No, because my prediction was more based on the fact that they would be underdogs, not that they would lose. Jake tried to bet me $50 straight up yesterday.
Yeah, you could.
Why didn't you?
Because I don't want to bet against Kansas.
I have the text.
Yeah, I don't want to bet against Kansas.
For people that don't know, people ask, well, when they argue, you guys are just playing around, aren't you? This is just for the show. No, no, it's not. No, we're not. And so,
Borderline's violence.
The other day, Nate made the point that he thought that Kansas, if Hunter Dickinson and McCullough didn't play, that they could be underdogs to Cincinnati. And Jake said, no way. No way, get lost. Not going to happen. And so, of course, Nate pushes back, and they had a debate about it on the air. Jake did not give in. Nate did not give in. Was it the thread with Lebo in it?
I think Lebo's on there. It was Nate decided
Okay, I got it.
Screenshot the.
Yeah, so
First thing I did
Wednesday
when I woke
morning,
up yesterday morning was check the line.
Wednesday
I did it
morning
before I went to bed, and I was like, "Damn it!"
At 4:56 a.m., I get a screenshot from Nate, and he really went in on the graphics and everything. Screenshot, and then he used Microsoft Draw or something to circle the line. This says Cincinnati minus 2.5.
Microsoft Paint.
Yeah, Microsoft Paint. And then he put, and this is at 4:56 a.m. Then at 5:15 a.m. See, and this, I have to deal with this an hour before the show even starts. The show starts an hour before we're even on the air, people. Jake replies, Vegas got it wrong. Overcorrection. Open at -1. $50 straight up. KU wins. And there it was.
He wouldn't take it.
$50 straight up. KU wins. No reply from Nate.
Right.
Could have had some
Nate,
of that cheese.
Nate leaves
Right.
$50 on the table.
I'm not. I don't want to bet against Kansas. That's not
But
money
then,
I want to
if
make.
they win, then you're happy to pay
Right.
that bet.
Nah. I look. I'm not rooting for them to be an underdog. I'm not rooting for them to lose by 20. By the way, Jake, Vegas did get it wrong.
Yeah, I know.
2.5, not nearly enough for Cincinnati, as it turns out.
they did not.
Somebody sent me a graphic yesterday. My buddy Brad Mertel, and he's a television sports producer, so there's no way he would lie about this. That was a tweet from someone. Kansas has not lost back-to-back games by 20 or more for the first time. Do you want to guess the year, Jake? Last time.
Nate's. By the way, Nate's blowing up the rest of the segment. So.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to hijack it. Go ahead.
Well, you did. You jackass. Jesus.
Well, how am I supposed to know you're going to go there?
Because I run the first segment. Damn it.
Sorry. I'll stand down.
Are you new around here?
Sometimes I feel like it.
Sometimes you act like it. By the way, guys, it was a historical night last night for Mizzou and Kansas.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
How historical was it, Steven?
Well, let me tell you. As far as Mizzou fans go, Nate, glad you brought this up. Mizzou losing all of their conference games, if you include last night's debacle against Georgia, 0-19 in the SEC. It's the first time that Mizzou goes winless in conference since 1908. 1908.
Man.
And Kansas also made history. Ask me how, Nate.
How did they make history, Steven?
Kansas loses back-to-back games by 20 or more for the first time since 1919, when they lost 37-15 and 45-25. Who did those two losses come to?
I'm going to guess, just a wild guess, The Missouri Tigers.
Both of them came to the Missouri Tigers. 37-15 on February 1st, or on January 31st, 1919, and then 45-25 on February 1st.
Offensive explosion in that second game, by the way, 45-25.
Right. That's right. Did you have all that information at your fingertips?
That was the tweet that was sent to me.
Yeah.
I blame Brad Mertell for ruining this first segment.
Now, Brad, how about this, Brad? Get your own
Brad.
show. How about that?
Way to go, Brad.
How about get your own radio show
Yeah.
and come up with these nuggets?
Thanks a lot, Brad.
The work never ends, Brad.
Poor Brad.
Okay, all your Brads and Chads out there, get your own show.
I watched some of that game last night with a Chad.
Did you?
Yeah.
Boger?
Yes.
Bet he was happy.
Yeah, I bet
Had
he
a good
would.
time.
Bet it wasn't.
Also, you want another one, or did Brad send you any more?
No, I don't have any more nuggets for you.
Okay. Do you realize this is the first time that Kansas will enter the NCAA tournament with 10 losses under Bill Self?
I mean, that tracks. We've been talking about the conference record being by far the worst it's been ever under Bill Self. So I believe it.
So there's why last night was history.
Man. And this team was number 1 in the country preseason. It's
That's a nice reminder that ignore preseason polls, everybody.
Oh, wasn't last year North Carolina number 1 and they didn't even make the tournament?
Just ignore preseason polls.
right.
Right? I mean, so it's like, yeah, they had a horrible year, but they're still going to be a 4th seed. Like,
I hate preseason polls, and then it allows teams that don't deserve to be in the top 25 to stay in the top 25 longer just because somebody thought they were going to be good. Same thing goes for football, You got teams that get off to a good start that have to fight their way into the top 25 just because, well, we don't think they're good. We have to prove it. They have to prove it 3 or 4 times. So, yeah, preseason polls are poop.
But I will say this. This was a collapse, too, from this team. Like, at the start of conference play, it didn't seem ridiculous that they were preseason number 1. They had beaten Kentucky. They had beaten Tennessee. They had beaten UConn.
right.
They had won at Indiana. So you're thinking, that doesn't seem unreasonable. Then all of a sudden, man, they get into league play. They can't win a road game.
That UCF game was alarming.
That should have been the red flag right there. But you're like, well, they've had bad games on the road every once in a while.
I also think it translates to the health of the team, too. I mean,
Right.
I don't think this happens if McCullough is healthy and not banged. I mean, because about halfway through the conference season, he was not right, even before that.
And he was too important of a part of this team for that to
On both ends of the ball.
and that's the part where we're not used to seeing. And you want to talk, Stephen, about like the way the game has changed. The Bill Self's always been able to have the depth that if they lose one guy, they got another McDonald's All-American coming in and all that because of a mistake they made in recruiting, and also because of the transfer portal. Because remember, who would have been the backup for Hunter Dickinson had he not transferred? A 7-footer who's playing at TCU now, who's a big-time player. And in the past, maybe he sticks around when they bring in Hunter Dickinson, but not now. So
it's easier for a player if he even if his path to playing time is difficult. I'm not even telling you there's no path to a playing time.
Right.
Even if there's resistance to his path to playing time, a player could just say, well, I'm out of here. Well, good night.
Okay, well,
good night. I'm out. So long.
and I'm going to get paid where I go.
Bye-bye.
Wherever I go else.
And fine, that it's the nature of the beast now. I'm fine with it. But number one, now there's some players you just can't be tough with.
Okay, well, good night.
Right?
Yep.
You have to treat players differently. They have more options, and it's more difficult to develop guys for 3 or 4 years and have a guy sit on the bench for a year or two, because if they don't want to sit on the bench, they don't have to. And they'll shop themselves on the open market and find some place where they can start right away. Yeah. People have resisted this, but I'm telling you, it's the way basketball is now. It of course it has an effect. And that's not the only reason that Kansas took a step back this year. Injury is the number one reason, but they don't have any depth either, like you said. And also, Houston's the best team in the nation right now. I mean, Kansas could have been at full strength and still not won the conference.
Right. Yeah, what's stunning is not that they didn't win the conference. What's stunning is all the other stuff you pointed out. Worst year in Bill Self history.
But like Houston came in here and said, Big 12? Oh, you don't think we can compete in the Big 12? And they rolled through the Big 12. I know they lost to Kansas, but still they rolled. I mean, did you guys expect that?
No. I if you told me they would win the league, it wouldn't have stunned me, but not like the way they did it.
They kicked this league in the ass.
They did.
You know? So very interesting. So now we're left but you know what? At least for the atmosphere down here, thank goodness for Kansas State and thank goodness for Iowa State. Because things will still be hopping tonight.
Mm-hmm.
After Cincinnati beats Kansas 72-52, K-State comes back and beats Texas and sends them packing 78-74. TCU beats Oklahoma, sends them packing 77-70. And the early game was BYU 87, UCF 73. Now we have these matchups today. 11:30 a.m. Hey, it's a battle of two top 25 teams. I don't know how many fans they'll have here, but it's if you're a college basketball fan, I mean, you got two top 25 teams. Number 25 Texas Tech and number 20 BYU at 11:30. That's a hell of a basketball game. BYU favored by 2.5. Then at 2 o'clock, TCU against Houston. Houston's favored by 10.5. Houston 28-3, 15-3 in the Big 12. And then the marquee matchup, at least for local fans, Kansas State and Iowa State. Iowa State's a 5.5-point favorite over the Wildcats. That's at 6 o'clock. And then the nightcap. And again, if K-State and Iowa State fans, whoever that wins that game, they choose to stay, there could be a nice crowd. If they choose to party, I don't know how many people will be in there watching Cincinnati and Baylor. I don't know. That Baylor guy with the long mustache, he'll be in there living it up. But that's the 8:30 game, Cincy and Baylor. I will project whoever wins the game between Kansas State and Iowa State will then take over Miller Lite Fan Fest.
Baylor.
And perhaps if you have not so good seats for Cincy Baylor, you might be able to move up a little bit if they let you. I don't know. That sound about right?
Yeah, maybe the winners of the K-State Iowa State game will want to stay and scout their next opponent.
Yeah, you think so?
Some of them.
You think they want to stay and scout the opponent or walk across the street and do backflips off the stage?
Party with you at
Right.
the Miller Lite Fan Fest.
And who else?
Belinda Post.
And you. Don't play with me.
I wish you could see the look on Jake's face just now.
Why?
He's very startled by the name I just threw out there.
Yeah. Oh, I thought because he what, did you tell him you're not coming down here?
No, I didn't tell him. I'll be down there.
No, because you won't say your name.
Well, I don't think that's much of a draw.
Well, it is, especially if it's K-State. You know?
Belinda will be there. She is a K-State alum, by the way.
Right. She was. What did she? Oh, damn it!
I believe she was a classy cat. Is that what you're?
Dylan, help me when you throw it up in the air and catch it.
Oh, the baton thing.
Yeah, there you go. Come on, Dylan. Dylan knows.
A twirler.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to get the terminology right.
Right.
Yeah, accuracy on this show is paramount. By me.
That's right. Always.
Every time.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk to Buster Olney. He'll be sad also. Vandy forced overtime against Arkansas, but came up short in overtime. So, the dreams of Mizzou and Vanderbilt making a run in the NCAA tournament were dashed. So instead, Buster and I will talk baseball. As we wipe tears away from our eyes. Hey, it's March Madness, everybody.
Hey,
come on down. I cordially invite your ass to come on down. It's a Miller Lite Fan Fest. Although, even though Paul Quinn College is not competing in the tournament, you can still party like they are. Have you played that since you've been back, Jake? I don't think you have. Have you?
The Barry White?
Have we dipped into the Barry White since you've been back?
He's down in Waco, wasn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, Paul Quinn College.
Right. Cordially invite your ass to come on down.
Hi, this is Barry White. Please join me on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, May 8th, 9th, and 10th for the first thing.
For the first session.
I'm cutting a spot, Tony.
Come on, Tony.
Hi, this is Barry White, and Paul Quinn College cordially invite you to a weekend in Texas on Friday, Saturday, one more time. Saturday and Sunday. Hi, this is Barry White, and Paul Quinn College cordially invites you to a weekend in Texas on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, May 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Coming up here.
Hi, this is Barry White, and Paul Quinn College cordially invites you to a weekend in Waco, Texas, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, May 8th, 9th, and 10th. This gala weekend will include the welcoming of celebrities, reception on Friday, the first, second, and third rounds of tennis tournament. First, second, and third rounds. Hi, this is Barry White, and Paul Quinn College cordially invites you to a weekend in Waco, Texas. Welcoming celebrities, some reception on Friday. Let's take it after the 8th night. Hi, this is Barry White, and Paul Quinn College and cordially invite your ass to come on down.
That's what we need. Back into this on Sports Radio 810 WHP. WHB, a bizarre man talking in my ear. Oh, that was Jake. Stephen St. John with Dylan Michaels, live in our Sports Radio 810 broadcast booth, right across from T-Mobile Center, at the entrance of the Miller Lite Fan Fest, where I will be all day and all night. Got some good basketball for you if you want to come out and hang out with us. Nate Bukaty will be here. You're going to come down here right after the show, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, right after.
No, you sound like you're being a smartass.
Well, maybe I am.
Oh, boy, yeah, right after. Are you coming down right after?
I think so. That's the plan, isn't it?
I'm putting you on the spot.
We used to be on the spot. We're not on the spot anymore.
Well, we could be. Did Jake catch our fish? There we go.
Yep.
Those are the magic words. Buster, I know that you, like me, probably up most of the night, upset that our squads couldn't follow through after valiant efforts. Vanderbilt falls short in overtime against Arkansas, and Mizzou blows a 7-point lead with just a couple of minutes left, and they lose to Georgia. So Mizzou, Vanderbilt, their NCAA tournament hopes and dreams have ended. I'm sorry, Buster, and we will commiserate together.
What's this thing of which you speak? Hope for the NCAA tournament? What, are you kidding? Come on. Vanderbilt basketball was terrible this year. I gave up hope like months ago.
Hey, they were just, 4 or 5 wins away from doing something special. So, Buster.
Yeah, and I'm 4 or 5 numbers from winning the lottery.
Are you? Well, good luck. Buster, there's lots to talk about here, including a trade. Dylan Cease gets traded out of the AL Central and goes to the Padres. What did you think of that trade between the White Sox and the Padres?
Yeah, it's classic Padres. A.J. Preller. There have been questions about whether or not this could be his last year with the organization because, they haven't advanced as far in the postseason as maybe some of their fans would like. But there's no question that if you need to get business done, if you need to try to put yourself in a position to win, A.J. Preller is the most aggressive general manager in the sport. And he goes out and gives up 4 prospects. They're internally, the 5 prospect and a group of 4. And when you talk to evaluators of other teams, they feel like the return is good for the White Sox. And they go and get the best available pitcher in a trade in Dylan Cease. And now a Padres rotation, which looked like an absolute mess when the offseason started, with not much behind Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove. Now they have Michael King, who finished great for the Yankees last year. They got him in the Juan Soto trade. And now they have Dylan Cease, who has a very high upside, as you guys know from seeing him pitch for the White Sox. I love the fact that the Padres, despite the fact they're in the same division as the Dodgers and, the defending National League champion, the Diamondbacks, they're trying to win. And that's what this sport is supposed to be about. So I love that trade for them.
Buster, speaking of trades and some moves, the Royals have avoided some bad luck this offseason. They made an offer to Lucas Giolito at the beginning of free agency, and he turned him down, goes to Boston, and he gets hurt. The Royals traded Jackson Kowar to the Braves for Kyle Wright, and then Jackson Kowar gets hurt and has to have Tommy John surgery. Now, I can tell you that the Royals, when they were looking to acquire a veteran closer, a veteran reliever, they had some talks with the Brewers and expressed interest in Devin Williams. I don't know how close they got, but that's at least a name that they've had on their radar, that they've been interested in, that they've at least pursued somewhat. And now Devin Williams, try to explain this injury to us.
Yeah, he's got stress fractures in his back. He hadn't been comfortable, so he'd gone to see some specialists, and this is what has come down. which means that he's out indefinitely. And this is a guy who is one of the best relievers in baseball. You know, ESPN had their top 100 players released the other day. And, you know, I went around to different camps and asked players to look at the list and see who we had too low on the list, basically to rip apart the list. And so many players locked their eyes on Devin Williams, who was number 99 overall. A lot of players felt like, no, he's better than that. This guy is an impact player. The expectation was with the Brewers, you know, basically seemed to be seemingly poised to punt on this season. He was going to be the number one trade piece along with Dylan Cease. But now Devin Williams out, you know, at least until June. There may not be time for him to rebuild his trade value. So the way that you just described that with the Royals, you know, getting a little bit lucky, that's exactly right. You know, Devin Williams, no one would have thought that this was, you know, that he was going to have an injury that would cost him a lot of the season. And Lucas Giolito was signed by the Boston Red Sox because of the fact that he was so durable, because, you know, they felt like, okay, at the very least, we're talking about a guy who can give us 180 innings, and now he's going to miss all this season. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of times, you know, you can evaluate players and hope for the best, but a lot of times it just comes down to luck.
Nate Bukaty, you're on with Buster Olney.
All right, Buster. So another thing that's kind of a big storyline in spring right now is some of the players that are still unsigned. I feel like it's a real juxtaposition with what we're seeing in the NFL, too, where like as soon as it's possible to start talking to other players, the NFL guys are out there spending money and signing free agents, but we got some big names that are still unsigned, and the season's only a couple of weeks away. What do you make of the guys like Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery still unsigned?
It is bleak for those guys. You know, Blake Snell, defending National League Cy Young Award winner, Jordan Montgomery, who led the Rangers staff to the World Series championship last fall, they're sitting out. And who's their agent? Scott Boras, who was also the agent for someone you guys remember well, Kendra Morales, and you know, Stephen Drew as well. Those guys in one season wound up waiting for contracts to come, and it turned out to be disastrous for them. And I fear now that when, you know, as Blake Snell looks around, he doesn't have a lot out there. I know that they've been talking with the Angels. I think from what I understand, that's where Blake Snell wants to land, and maybe that's where it goes. But, you know, the idea that there's a team out there that's going to jump on them, you know, this late into spring training, I doubt it, because a lot of these teams at this point are like, you know what, we'll go with what we have, especially in light of the cost for someone like Blake Snell. You know, people have wondered if the Yankees will jump in on a Snell or a Montgomery because of this injury to Garrett Cole. And keep in mind, the Yankees' payroll is so high that they will be taxed at 110% on every dollar they spend. So if they were to commit a salary, say, of $30 million a year to Blake Snell, that actually would cost them $63 million, plus